Hello everybody, Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. I got a little video today I think you're going to find super interesting, and we're going to be talking about ghost. And what's going on here, some people, I would definitely say would call it spooky, that's for sure. And right after I had survived the home invasion murder attempt, then I had more people than I can count saying, "Do you think it's a ghost? Maybe it's a ghost." I mean, it was just a ridiculous amount of people. It was like they were all told to say that or something. They're. And I think there's a reason. There's a story behind that. This is one of the Facebook posts I did in April 2019, and because I don't believe in ghosts, vampires, or zombies, and that's what I tell them. But here I want to show you this YouTube video that I found right here. It's real short, and we'll watch it, and then I'll jump right in here. Okay, and this is concerning ghosts. Ah, yeah, there's a ghost. Yeah, sure is. Sure enough. Yeah, ghost. Anyway, we're going to get on into this Facebook post. Do you think it's a ghost? Okay. It's a short read, and this is you're going to find this super interesting. Back in 2012, all I had was this crazy story of burglar alarms going off in the attic while somebody under my home shot me by surprise, and then finding pictures of police in my home covering up this murder attempt, which I couldn't get identified for 6 years. These criminals called me crazy to cover up this premeditated capital murder attempt that left me crippled for life, but that doesn't work anymore. And why is it premeditated? Because nobody accidentally breaks into a private home, accidentally shoots a homeowner. That takes premeditation. They had to think that out first. Let's load our guns, go to Buddy Webb's house, shoot him by surprise, and try to kill him. These are cold-blooded killers. That's all there is to it. Now there is proof showing that I wasn't shot with my gun. Almost 50 other homeowners document and reporting people in the attic, and multiple people documented saying that tunnels and underground homes are here. It's no longer my word against their word, as the evidence stands on its own merit. But regardless of that, the crimes against me and the many other victims still happen day after day, okay? It's actually just blatant lawlessness is what's going on right now, assisted by a corrupt press that hasn't warned or told the public about this crime ring that's rigging these homes and people getting in the attic. I think it's human trafficking ring. One thing I used to hear often was people saying, "Do you think it's ghost?" Some of these people are probably sincere, but I suspect many of them are just trying to blame these violent crimes on something else so that nobody gets arrested. This would allow them to continue to break into homes, pimping out little girls at underground parties, and killing innocent people using secret police gangs. I used to say, I don't believe in ghosts, vampires, and zombies, and I'm sure they don't carry loaded guns and dress up like Midland police. After I had returned from the hospital, a friend from my hometown of Hobbs, New Mexico, named Amy Kernan, suggested that I go see her friend, Sarah Billingsley, who was a lawyer in Odessa. Sarah is now a district judge. Sarah recommended a private investigator named Larry Carlisle, who was a former homicide detective from Odessa, so I hired him. I had just got out of the hospital when all this happened, okay? And Amy was pretending to be my friend. Larry asked me if I thought it might be ghosts, and also asked me if I was interested in selling my home. Okay, this was two big old red flags, so I fired him. Okay, now I want you to keep this in mind. Here's a guy that used to be a homicide detective suggesting it was ghosts that shot me. Can you even imagine that? It was just ridiculous. How many homicides do you think he solved by saying it was ghosts that murdered somebody? I seriously doubted he actually believed it was ghosts that shot me. He did give me a huge clue, though, when he suggested that I get all police reports, and all medical records. That's one of the last things he said to me. The medical records prove that I wasn't shot with my gun, and that makes this a capital murder attempt. And the police reports prove that police were under my home when it was somebody under my home that shot me. We just got this massive police public corruption going on. And, that's been a whole huge part of these crimes, these nonstop, horrific, nightmarish crimes, is the police corruption. I would often go to the theater, and one day I was watching a movie called Haunted House. This was released in January 2013 and was written by Marlon Wayans and Rick Alvarez. That's from the Wayans brothers. Interestingly, Rick Alvarez's nickname was El Diablo, which was the same name used by the guy that drove from Midland to Mexico and issued threats against then Chief Police Robinson and other police in 2012. I just made a video about that yesterday. Of course, El Diablo means the devil, right? I mean, so that's Spanish for the devil. Anyway, I noticed this movie had several scenes in it which seemed like they came from out of my house. When Haunted House 2 came out and released in 2014, I noticed many other similarities which seemed too coincidental. Here are some of the big ones. The homeowner has a Hispanic next door neighbor with Chihuahua dogs who owns a lawn cutting business. I have a Hispanic next door neighbor who cuts lawns and has a Chihuahua dog. Okay, the owner shoots a shotgun in the home. I kid you not. Right? He's installing cameras everywhere. That's what I did. There was a fraudulent call to the police, and the police come to his home and arrest him. They're calling him crazy. Okay, he's writing notes to himself. I was writing notes to myself. You know, I've seen one scene where he's listening to the floor. I remember listening to the floor. Nobody would know that except the people breaking in my house. Marlon Wayans wearing black canvas Converse shoes all through the show. And see, I almost exclusively wear them Converse. And the reason I do is because it has soft sides on it and it forms around my maimed and mutilated ankle. I can't wear any other shoes. But the same exact shoes that he's wearing is what I wear, okay? And then at the end of the show, if you watched it, he's holding up a cross saying, God is on my side. And they're mocking God and mocking Christians and mocking me. I mean, it was just all kinds of coincidences in this movie, okay? This movie is heavy on mocking God, okay, and then it also has a small white dog that you'll see at the first of the show. The small white dog gets killed or whatever, you know, and they're making jokes about that. And of course, I have Bella, a small white dog. I mean, you know, it's like, this is just amazing. All these things I'm seeing in this video look like they came from out of my home. This made me wonder if they knew about the $1 million underground homes here said to have been hosted pedophile parties and connected with multiple murders, including a young girl at a 2010 oil show party. I was doing some research on the Wayans, and I saw where they were in Odessa, Texas in April 2013 doing a comedy show at the MCM Comedy Club, okay? And then people that don't know, Odessa's 15 minutes away from Midland, so it's always called Midland, Odessa, you know. I believe the MCM Grand Hotel chain is owned by the ICA Group, which is headed by John Bushman. And the ICA used to own CBS 7 News, which has never reported these fact-filled stories of homeowners all over Midland and the country reporting people in the attic. The first known secret police since Nazi Germany. Absolute proof they faked x-rays. Just, multiple people documented saying there's underground homes and tunnels here, including the guy that was running for sheriff during the election. You know, CBS 7 has never reported none of that. In fact, they have me blocked. You know, I can't even post on their Facebook. They have me blocked, okay? And one of the many businesses they own, I think they own the mall, just all kinds of business, is A1 Mobile Homes, okay? That's John Bushman. Many years ago, my brother, Danny, lived over in Odessa, and he sold mobile homes. I wondered if he knew or was friends with John Bushman. I've never been able to explain why Danny, my brother, turned his back on me after I survived a home invasion and murder attempt. I'm now living under the threat of death and told that I was going to die by my doctors, which I believe was a result of being poisoned inside my home by these criminals connected with this secret police-protected crime ring. Okay, and so I've long wondered if there was a connection there with Danny and the mobile homes and Bushman. Also wondered if Brett Bushman was related to this super wealthy family from Odessa. Brett was the guy that the drug rehab counselor, Christy Otts, had said gave her the confession to the Haley Dunn murder. Remember that? I'm going to show you that in a minute. I would later get attacked by a family member of theirs named Kristen Bushman on Facebook, who helped create a Facebook group, hate and slander Facebook group against me. Okay. I got a video on that. Over 100 members on that, called Victims of Buddy Wayne Webb is what it was. And it was just slander and lies and just a hate group. And Kristen was one of the creators of it. Hunter Bushman, the grandson of John Bushman, wrote me and said, "Hey, buddy, whatever you do not listen to Christian Nicole Bushman. She's my sister-in-law, and she's crazy, and I believe she knows something about the tunnels. She attempts to negate your claims, but I think she's a part of it. Just trying to give you a heads up because I believe you. Hunter's a good guy." This is the grandson of John Bushman. Okay. And then I put a link to the Haunted House 2 trailer there, and we're not going to watch that because what I don't want to happen is, I don't want the copyright violations, and that's what I have. And I put in some just print screens in here. I want to show you after I had Amy, okay, my friend from Hobbs that recommended me that go see Sarah Billingsley. She's the one that recommended the private investigator Larry Carlisle that suggested Ghost and asked me if I want to sell my home. Well, then it was in 2015, Governor Abbott appoints her as district judge. So she's now a judge. I've never done a video about Abbott, but I have emails to and from his office before he was even governor, when he was an attorney general. He has known about these crimes forever. And let me show you a message from Amy. Amy got blocked from my Facebook a long time ago. This is somebody that was pretending to be my friend, somebody I have known just most all my life. Her dad was my doctor over at Hobbs, for years. I've known her my whole life, And here I'm going to show you this just horrific, nasty slander. Amy, buddy, there's a reason that people care about you and know and don't comment on your posts. It's too painful to watch. Everyone's worried about you. We've watched you descend into madness and paranoia and falsely accuse anybody who doesn't agree with you. You have adult onset schizophrenia, and sooner you accept this. Okay, so you see, here's Amy. I remember I'm the guy that's got proof showing I wasn't shot my gun. I'm the guy found, pictures of a dozen police, took 6 years to get identified. They documented multiple people saying tunnels, underground homes are here. Back then I didn't have all this evidence, and that was the crap I was getting right there. But Amy pretended to be my friend, go see my friend Sarah, and then Sarah recommends the private investigator, goes, "Do you think it's Ghost?" And this is a homicide detective, Okay, I just want to show you that. This is Hunter Bushman's, Facebook here, and that's what he wrote me. He says, "Whatever you do, man, don't listen to Kristen Nicole Bushman. She's my sister-in-law. She's crazy, and I believe she knows something about the tunnels. She attempts to negate your claims, but I think she's a part of it. Just trying to give you a heads up because I believe you." And why did the Bushmans get brought up in here is because that's a super wealthy family that owns the MCM comedy club that the Wayans brothers were at in 2013. Okay. And, and the question if they're related to, Brett Bushman, okay? And here's Allison Mack, whose real name is Christy Smith Otts there. She's a drug rehab counselor, had wrote me there in 2016. First, she wrote me on YouTube and said, "I got the confession of the Haley Dunn murder in 2015 from a guy named Brett Bushman," okay? BB right here. And she tells me real graphic detail. The guy said that, and she's talking about Brett, said she was traded by her mother for a drug balance of $135 of meth while she was in the care of the dealer. She flipped out and they shot her up with something, then overdosed and died. The guy who confessed to me said they took her back to her mother, that'd be Billy Dunn, and they stuffed her in a box. He described the way they had to bend her and break her to fit. Then they buried her on a ranch outside Odessa. There's 10 people documented saying Haley was killed and or buried outside of Odessa. That was one of them. But the reason I included it here is because his name was Bushman, and I wondered if because he was related to the super wealthy family, is that why this cover-up for the Haley Dunn murder is going on. And then I'm going, how can this movie have all this stuff, inside of it that looks like it came from my house? And then I see, wow, they were over in Odessa. They were at the MCM Comedy Club owned by the Bushmans over in Odessa, the Wayans brothers. That's where I'm thinking. And then I also did looked up Rick Alvarez. He was the one of the writers, co-writers. There was one of the Wayans brothers and Rick Alvarez. We'll look at that here in a minute. And I know he went to school in Texas. I wondered if he was from Midland, but I could never, find out where Rick Alvarez was from. But I know he went to college in Texas, okay? And he has a whole list. We're going to look at his credits here in a minute. Okay, here's the Wikipedia for Haunted House. This is the movie, the first movie, okay? And it's a parody, right? And here we're showing right here, screenplay by Marlon Wayans and Rick Alvarez, story by Marlon Wayans that was in Odessa in 2013, produced by Marlon Wayans, Rick Alvarez, starring, etc., etc., etc. Okay, and here you can look, read it, go watch the movie, whatever. Okay. This is Haunted House 2. I couldn't wait till this come out because I wanted to see what was in it. I mean, it was just amazing. I was amazed. It was like, that they were, somehow they knew the people were breaking into my house. I just felt sure of it because that's where they got all this stuff for this movie, shooting the shotgun in the house, arresting the homeowner, and, installing cameras everywhere, Well, I mean, there was just, one thing after another, and then ending with God is on my side because they're mocking God, mocking Christians. As far as I'm concerned, they're mocking me, okay? Because I give God all the praise and glory for saving my life when these killers decided to load their guns, come to my home, cut my phone lines, and shoot me by surprise using secret police that tampered with evidence, lied on the police report to cover up their violent crimes. Rick Alvarez, he's one of the ones that wrote this, and I'm going to show you his credits. It's just amazing what you're going to see here, okay? Of these produced 50 Shades of Black, let's see, A Haunted House 2, there it is, a whole bunch of the Wayans, White Chicks, Scary Movie 2, etc., okay? And interestingly, did you know his nickname was El Diablo? I thought that was interesting because I did that video yesterday. Anybody hadn't seen that, you ought to go check out that video about the guy from Midland that drove to Mexico, issued these horrific threats against law enforcement, including to saying they're going to kill the chief of police and his family, right? And they're going to cut the head off a cop and make it into soup. All these horrific threats, right? And come to find out, it was a guy from Midland that drove to Mexico to make it look like it was the cartel when it was some guy here in Midland that did it. And he only gets 2 years. And what name did he go by? El Diablo, right? Same nickname for Rick Alvarez. Okay. And then finally here, I just saw this a couple years ago. I thought this was interesting. This was in the news. Hillary and Bill Clinton attend Iranian billionaire Hampton's yacht. Okay, so there's a big party here. And this was in August 2019. Hillary and Bill Clinton attend Iranian millionaire Hampton's attentions grow. And the reason I put it here is just showing pictures, but look there's the Wayans brothers, okay? See, the Wayans and the Clintons are friends, And of course, I've never been able to, tie the Clintons into what's going on here or whatever. But, I know it was on the internet many times that Bill Clinton flew to, Pedophile Island 26 times with Epstein. That was pretty widely reported. I've never been able to tie Epstein in, but I've always suspected that the same thing going on underground, like at the oil show parties where they forced the little girl to prostitute or they murdered her, was the same type of stuff, And I wondered if it wasn't the same crime ring. But anyways, I thought you might find that interesting. And then lastly here, I got this message from one of my Facebook friends. He said, "Hey, buddy, it's Cam. I think you're going to solve this soon. I was actually trying to call you a couple weeks ago. I think these child rings are connected, man. I think you, people all over, even government, are ate up with these horrible events. Seems all of it at every level is being covered up. You tying this to a Hollywood movie proves they're in on it. But before, people couldn't get hard evidence of the movie industry being guilty. I think if you chase that cast down and find out who they know, it could be a big break, maybe." Okay, that was one of the messages I got. So anyway, y'all can watch the movies if you hadn't seen them, and maybe that's a clue for law enforcement. I sincerely believe we have good law enforcement out there, the ones that are not involved in rigging private homes and shooting homeowners by surprise and lying with, on police reports and tampering with evidence and covering up capital murders and this nationwide organized crime ring that's allowing all these crimes. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.